This new and exciting Master in Management online program is a flexible one that is working full-time. It offers a new curriculum with cutting-edge material taught by experienced and international faculty. It offers a broad overview of management principles to anyone that wants to get a solid foundation in this area. This program is suitable for non-business graduates who want to move into a management or leadership role within their organization or are looking for new business opportunities. These professionals probably are working full-time and they have demanding careers, so time sensitivity is a major issue. The program has attracted students from a variety of sectors, such as healthcare, public sector, humanities, and engineering, among others. Despite the program being online, the student support systems are very strong in this program. There is a dedicated program manager who is ready to help our students through email, video conference, or in-person appointments throughout their presence in the program. The Masters has opened great opportunities for our graduates in a variety of management and leadership roles in sectors such as healthcare, management consulting, public sector, among others. Our graduates have a great record in working in companies like Microsoft, Google, PwC, Deloitte, Unilever, and others.
Welcome everybody to this webinar where you just already saw an introduction of some of the benefits that maybe you could get as well for studying the program that was announced, the Flexible Online Management Masters. And we're going to hear all about this program and more from UCD's staff, and also a student actually will join us. We're going over to them in just a minute. Before that, I would like to briefly explain to some of the interactive options you have. My name is Luc Mulling. I'm the moderator of today. And you can write us, first of all, let us know where you're logging in from. As you can see in the chat at the right bottom, I saw some people already did that. So great already to see some of you joining us. Besides that, of course, if you have any questions, please write them through the panel called questions at the right bottom. And we will be answering these questions at the end. Also, I opened up already a poll. Also at the bottom there, you can give us a little bit more feedback about yourself for us to get to know you a little bit better. And I'll be opening up a couple of poll questions throughout the session as well. Last but not least, we also have a fun button, so to say, to interact with us. At the bottom of the screen, you see a button called React. If you click on that, you can give us your reaction that maybe you like to hear something, and exactly those are the ones we like to receive. And also just to make a little bit more fun for the presenters. Talking about the presenters, let's go over to them. As mentioned, we have three great speakers lined up. We will start with the program manager, Gerard Doley. He will start off the session and introduce the others as well. Take it away, Gerard.
Thanks very much, Luke, and hello, everyone. My name is Gerard Dooley, and I am going to be leading this information webinar on our part-time MSc in Management, which is delivered 100% online by our expert team here in the Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School in Dublin here in Ireland. Now, before I get into it properly, I'd like to flag the email address that is on screen there. Should you have any questions on the admissions process for this program, please contact my colleagues in the admissions department. That's smurfit.admissions@ucd.ie. And should you have any questions relating to how the program works in the online space, more technical aspects, or more questions about for instance, the modules or time commitment, stuff like that, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. And I'm at gerard.dooley@ucd.ie. So let's kick off. As I said, my name is Gerard Dooley, and I am the program manager for this program, but I'm also the learning support officer, and I will speak more about my specific role, which is pretty unique in UCD, a little bit later on. Joining me today is Dr. Teddy Skitty, who we'll be hearing from momentarily, Teddy is the academic program director for this program, and he will be speaking about the academic side of things very shortly. Things like, what do people learn on this course, what is involved in the modules, and of course the importance of the sequencing of the modules one after the other in the trimesters. We're also joined by a current student on the program, Suzanne. I'll be asking Suzanne a few questions during the session to give you that, most important of all perspectives, that of a current student on the program. UCD has offered the MSc in management to students on a part-time basis for many years now. But Suzanne is among our first cohort of students who joined the program since it moved fully online in September 2023. And in the background, as well as Luke will be monitoring the questions that are coming in, but also doing that will be two other colleagues, Dr. Orna Bryan and Mairead Mulvey. Orna is the director of the College of Business Global Campus, the unit of UCD that manages this program. We in the Global Campus, we also manage our undergraduate programs, undergraduate part-time programs for students in our main campus in Dublin in Belfield, and our programs in Singapore. So if you are joining us today from overseas from the perspective of Ireland, and I can see from the chat box that we certainly do have plenty of people from overseas, rest assured, we in the Global Campus are uniquely placed to manage students from all sorts of backgrounds and from different time zones all over the world. And finally, Mairead is managing applications for this program. So at the end, when we throw open the floor to questions, if any questions come in that are very specific to admissions, I'll redirect you to my colleague Mairead. So first of all, a little bit of background on the Smurfit School for those of you who may not be familiar, or if you're joining us, indeed I see people joining us from Bulgaria, from Spain, from Greece, and I know from the sign-ups that there's people joining us from all over the world. So you may not be overly familiar with what we do and our background. The Smurfit Business School, it's the arm of University College Dublin's College of Business that caters to graduate students. So University College Dublin itself is 170 years old this year, and the College of Business is 116 years old. So we've been doing this for quite a long time at this stage. We're based in Blackrock in South Dublin. Dublin, a city which, if you need reminding, is renowned for being a global hub for technology. Appropriately enough for a program such as this and a webinar talking about it, the 2021 Tech Cities of the Future European rankings placed Dublin third, behind only London and Paris, and ahead of cities such as Berlin, Amsterdam, and Madrid. The Financial Times placed the Smurfit School as the 24th top business school in Europe and #1 in Ireland. The QS Sustainability Rankings places the exact same ranking, actually, the 24th in Europe and #1 in Ireland. QS, their graduate employability survey for 2022, placed UCD globally, all across the world, that is, as 87th. That's the university-wide ranking. And of crucial importance, the Smurfit Business School and the College of Business at large holds that gold standard for business school accreditation, the triple crown of a certification from AACSB, EQUIS, and AMBA. So people who join this program do so for a whole myriad of reasons. The Smurfit Business School is, as I mentioned earlier, it's Ireland's premier business school. And having an MSc degree from us will help, no doubt, take your future career to wherever one wants it to go. People, they might wish to build upon their prior qualifications with a business management specialization. For instance, if you're from a background and you find yourself working for an organization and almost by accident you find yourself in a managerial role, which very often happens, you might want to get an appreciation for the theory that underpins management, and you might wish to go back to college and get a better grasp of how management works, allowing you to get involved in the conversations in work that maybe you're not getting involved with at the moment. Or perhaps you're stuck at a point in your career where you need a master's qualification to proceed. You may have reached a point in your life where, or indeed you're not quite at the point of your life, but you foresee it happening very soon, where your level of commitments in your life mean that you can take on an MSc at the moment, because they know that you may not have that luxury soon. I hope that this new mode of delivery, the online mode of delivery, regardless of your commitment levels, all students that join us will be able to craft their own study schedule to achieve their unique goals for the program, whatever they may be. So people who join this online program, you might be unable to commit to a more traditional face-to-face full-time or part-time program of studies. More drilling down into that, you may be in a position where you're unable to relocate to Ireland for full-time studies. I have an asterisk there just to note that as this is a part-time online delivered program, participants are not eligible for a student visa or for participation in the third level graduate visa program, so just bear that in mind. Other reasons people might join an online program: you may be based in Ireland or based near Ireland in the United Kingdom, Great Britain. You might be unable to commute to our campus in Dublin for part-time studies for a whole host of reasons. You might have extensive travel commitments for work. Are you based in a multinational corporation in whatever city you live around Europe or around the world, and you are unable to go to your home campus, wherever that may be, to participate even in part-time studies because you have such a high degree of travel commitments for work? Well, maybe this is the program for you. Maybe you're in a position where you're simply unable to get time off work to participate in classes. Do you work in an industry such as healthcare? Do you work in education? So for instance, if you work in education, maybe you're a high school teacher and you teach students on a Thursday or a Friday, and you want to do some part-time studies, but the part-time classes take place on a Thursday or a Friday. You automatically have to rule yourself out of a program such as this. This is not the case with this program. Are you in a role where hours are either very rigid or uncertain or seasonal? I put up both examples because if you're at either end of the scale, the same considerations may be required. If you have a schedule that is very rigid, you may not be able to join part-time program. Or if things are so uncertain that you only receive your hours week on week or month on month, planning ahead may be very difficult to join a more traditional program of study. Or, of course, as we're seeing more and more, do you have caring commitments in your life? Perhaps for younger members of your family, for children, for grandchildren? Or are you in a position where more and more of us are these days, you're caring for people who maybe your parents or your grandparents, as well as children or grandchildren? You might be in that kind of sandwich generation. So if you fall into any of those brackets or multiple ones of those brackets, maybe this is a program for you. Now, I will speak in greater detail on this towards the end of our session anyways, but just to touch upon it now so we have a good heads up about it before we get to it at the end, you need to have a minimum second-class honours degree, which is, in the Irish framework, a level 8, but whatever your equivalent is wherever you're based and joining us today, crucially in a non-business related discipline. So if you come from a background of having done the liberal arts, law, engineering, health sciences, food and agricultural sciences, whatever, anything that's non-business related, and you have a bachelor's honours degree, then maybe this is the program for you. In very exceptional circumstances, we do accept applications from non-degree holders or degree holders who have a pass degree, but they would need significant management work experience. And I will talk about that track, smaller track of entry onto the program towards the end. Okay. Now, an understandable question, before I turn over to Teddy to talk a little bit more about the program. A very common question that we get from prospective students is, well, okay, I want to do this program. What kind of career would I get out of it? And given its broad nature, this is the broadest graduate program one can undertake, or at least one of the broadest in the Smurfit School. The potential directions one can take, they're innumerable. A lot of people come into this program with very firm ideas on how they want to progress, either vertically or diagonally in their current organization. Maybe some people want to move on to a different organization or change careers altogether. The broad curriculum allows for those changes. You will get learning outcomes from all sorts of different modules. Some potential areas that we have seen in the past for people who have done this program in the traditional sense, or the traditional delivery, is people move on to be management consultants, product managers, or indeed project managers, development managers, time for working in client relationships, supply chain, sales managers, brand strategists, the kind of marketing side of things, or they might move into a more financial or accounting side of things. So there's a whole host of different areas that you could see yourself moving into. So I'm going to pass over to my colleague Teddy Skitty now. Teddy is going to speak through, the modules themselves, what people will learn on the program, and the sequencing of the modules. Okay, so as Luke said at the start, please pop in any questions that you may have into the chat box, and we'll come to them at the end. But for now, Teddy, over to you.
Thank you, Jer. That's an excellent introduction, I believe, for our master's program. I think something that became very clear from Jer's introduction is that this is a master's degree that's for non-business college graduates, right? So it's kind of like assumed in this program that you don't have like any knowledge of business, of management before you come into this class. So taking this from Jer, I'm Teddy. I'm a professor of management at University College Dublin, at our business school, the Smurfit Business School. And I'm the academic director of this master program. So there are like a few things that we definitely want to actually get from this master program. So since it's assumed that you don't have any background in business, first of all, we have like made the decision to provide like a very solid theoretical background in a variety of business fields, and teach you all the analytical skills for you to actually solve actual problems, right? So we like theory, but we also like the practical side of management. So that's why we want throughout all our courses to teach you all the practical tools to answer business questions, such as how firms compete in different industries, how they actually create and capture value, and in a combination of theoretical tools and also applied knowledge, right? So that's why we have like lots of cases throughout all our courses, and we have like a distinguished faculty that actually have a huge teaching experience behind. But we also have like a third component, which is communication skills, right? So theory plus applied knowledge, but also communication skills. It's impossible to succeed in the business world without having communication skills. So that's why we actively promote group work throughout all our courses. It is a challenge to do group work in an online environment. That's why we have the tools and the platform to actually, first of all, actively help students to engage into group work, but also build their network, right? So although this is like an online master program, as hopefully like Suzanne will actually tell you later, you can still like build like a very solid network with established professionals across like a variety of fields and industries. So you learn about management, you learn about theory of management, you learn practical tools, but also you learn about from your colleagues as well, from your classmates, right? So you actually are doing like lots of group work, but also you actually build your own network in this field. I mean, combining all these elements, you should be able, after this master program, to be able to provide like meaningful business suggestions to your future careers, right? So to your future employers. So if you are established already, if you are already an established professional, that means that we give you the tools to become like a future manager through these tools, but also to change careers as well, as Jared mentioned before. So how about like what kind of courses we have? So we kind of like assume that you don't have any background in business. That's why we want to provide like a variety of courses that we believe are essential for you to actually graduate with a master in management degree. So the master's is divided into 2 years. So we have like a variety of courses on this. Let me just give you like a few examples of this so that I can show you like what kind of like a business course we teach in this master's. Let's start with the global leadership and teams. So this kind of like describes and analyzes like how teams and relationship with a management team affect the value creation in companies. We have like a digital innovation and strategy. We live in a very interesting times where digital platforms play a very big role in our lives. We have like new technologies, we have AI. So this is a course for you to actually see how technology and digital innovation in general affect strategic decisions in companies, right? So companies create value. So we need to kind of like learn how the digital strategy is related to the overall business strategy of a company. We also have like a very interesting course, which is accounting information. So this is one of the courses that is really, really essential for any person that wants to actually take up a management role. You need to know accounting to make like solid business decisions. So we kind of like, in this course, we teach you how to read financial statements, how to do accounting management, and how to use financial statement to make like business decisions. We have corporate finance, which involves like how companies raise money, how they actually are using all the financial tools to improve the financial performance or the overall performance of the company. We offer a marketing course, in which we teach you how a manager should use all the marketing tools to increase sales and to improve the market share in a market. And of course, a very important aspect is the HR, the human resources management. A company is its people, right? Without actually managing the people, then the company cannot be successful. We have like a really important core course, which is, I would say, something that it's very, very valid when it involves like the general strategic orientation of the company, the global strategic management, how you create value, how you actually respond to various shocks in the industry or an economy. We offer also a supply chain course. Supply chain is one of the hottest topics when it comes to financial performance for a company. It's not only for you to actually create innovation or create value, but it also is what happens within the company, how you actually produce stuff, how the whole supply chain actually affects like financial performance of a company. You cannot do anything without knowing like some kind of like economics, right? So you have to kind of like have like some basic economics analysis, like how firms compete, how pricing works, how competition affects like the firm's financial performance. And since we live in a time of innovation and AI and technology, you need to kind of like also have like an idea how to actually manage this innovation, right? So we have like a course which is a part of project management, which is more specific when in innovation. And also we have like 2 more applied courses, which is the research module where you work with a faculty member and you conduct some really important research project. And also finally, we close all this menu of courses with a business simulation course, which is in which you actually combine all the knowledge that you actually got from this masters, and you actually play a simulation. This is the fun end of the masters, where you actually put all your theory and applying knowledge into action. So I just kind of like want to also give you like kind of like a timeline of how things are progressing in this master. So it's a 2-year flexible online program, and this is how the classes are divided. So you start like with the leadership and innovation and accounting, then you go to finance, HRM, and marketing. Then you go to economics, strategic management, and you finish with a business simulation and the managing innovating projects. Now you will see that we want flexibility in this master. So that's why we have this all these courses allocated throughout 4 semesters or 2 years, so that you can combine flexibility but also learn like really important stuff, right? So that's why we have like 3 courses in each semester. So I think this is the framework of our timeline.
Great, thank you, Teddy.
Jared, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Teddy. A great sense there of how the program works and how the modules are sequenced. At this stage, I'm going to bring in Suzanne to ask her a question. Suzanne, as I mentioned, there is a current student of the program. Hi, Suzanne.
Hello, yeah.
Reflecting on what we've kind of been talking about thus far, you know, Teddy has been talking about how all the modules work. You're in the middle of, let me get this right, your second trimester of your first year. You're someone who did not have, as all students in the program, none of them have an academic business background. May I ask you, how have you found kind of, you're in the midst of now delving into all of these academic business topics. You will have been obviously exposed to things like marketing and accounting and finance in your previous guises, whatever career that anybody joins this program. But how have you found going into all of these academic business modules from scratch, essentially?
Yeah, so my background is originally in science, and I will admit actually initially that I was maybe a bit apprehensive about moving to something completely new like business. So far I found that the breadth of topics has been really great to give sort of an introduction across so many areas of management, which is really good. Some topics are definitely more challenging than others, but I think there is a huge amount of learning support in UCD on this course in particular. A lot of interaction with lecturers, we've discussion boards, direct contact with lecturers and everything as well. So even though these are all new topics, I think we've all got very much into them and enjoy them, and there is the support there to learn something new.
Great, thank you, Suzanne. I'm going to come back to you, Suzanne, in about 10 or 15 minutes and talk a little bit more about your experience thus far. But for now, I'm going to talk about, well, I'm sure a lot of you might be joining the program today and you kind of want to get a sense of how this program actually is, you know, delivered online. So I want to speak to that a little bit now. So, you know, it's a big question. How is a program such as this delivered in the online space? Understandably, that's something that will no doubt occupy your curiosity when you're coming to it from a very different perspective. So approximately 80% of the content of this program is recorded and is consumed asynchronously, as we say. And 20% would be considered to be live content. Now, again, I have another asterisk there. That is subject to change depending upon the module. Depends upon the lecture and is subject to change year on year. So this is just an average because I want to give, you know, a very high level sense for you joining this webinar, excuse me, as a prospective student. So I want to give you an idea, but do bear in mind, depending on the modules, you know, because we have such a broad curricula, different modules are taught in very different ways. So just bear that in mind, I guess. On the live sessions, I'll talk more about this in a moment, but the live sessions that we have on this program, they're delivered via Zoom, but crucially, they are recorded. There is no mandatory live attendance element for this program. And that is very important for an online program that claims to be, you know, offer 100% flexibility. So, you know, you undertake, as Teddy spoke about there earlier, you undertake 3 modules concurrently, in other words, at the same time, each trimester, over 2 years, so 4 trimesters. And you know, your kind of home campus, so to speak, in the online space is Brightspace. So what I'm going to do now, and Luke is going to help me with this. I'm actually, you know, to give an idea of what Brightspace looks like, we're actually going to show you a recorded screen capture of what Brightspace looks at. So we're just going to bring that up now, and I'll narrate over it. So deliberately, this video does not have sound because I'm narrating over it. So when you log onto Brightspace, you're brought onto your home page. and you will see all your different modules. I'm going to go into this one, Global Leaderships and Teams Portal, with the kind permission of the lecturer, Ashley Hughes. So bear in mind, this is a live version, so some things might be a little bit different. This is a live version of a module that has already been delivered. So there's a My Learning section, which houses all of your materials. This module has 14 topics. I'm going to show you one of the topics here, Leading Change. We're actually currently working on a more interactive way for you to interact with this content online, and we're ready to launch that, which is great, and we'll get more details about that very soon. So we go into the content here, and this is how it's all put together. Now, the content, by the way, is put together by the lecturer in conjunction with our expert e-learning team. Now, obviously, when you engage with this, there will be sound, but this video is muted because I wish to narrate over it and talk through it. So you can see there your lecturer, Ashley Hughes. This is the first video of this particular topic. It is developed, as you can see, in very high spec using the latest technology in our recording studio in our main campus in Belfield. It adheres to the latest criteria for accessibility. So from slide generation to subtitling. And then you simply work your way through the topic resources at your own pace. Now, the look and feel of the modules is pretty universal, albeit some modules, you know, may have a slightly different look and feel than some of the others. They may be more lecture-led in terms of design, but usually topics will end with, you know, robust, checks for learning before you move on to the next topic. So as you can see here, you've got, bear in mind, you have a module, and that is divided up into different topics. This module just so happened to have 14 topics, and that will be subdivided into different lessons. You just go through them, again, at your own pace, in a schedule that suits you. Now, obviously, there's different resources which are made available to you. You download them, or you can access them via the UCD library. As you can see, it's all very clearly laid out as best as is possible by our expert team. There might be links to other external resources as well, as you can see there, a TED Talk. And then you've got your check for learning there at the end. So we'll go back to the slides now. So whilst the bulk of the program takes place asynchronously, the live interaction with your lecturers and peers is obviously of crucial importance to bring everything together for you. For every single module on the program, there will be live sessions about once every 3 to 4 weeks approximately via Zoom. Now, when these take place varies. Crucially, before I go into that, as I've said already, these sessions are recorded. There's no mandatory live attendance element for the program. The live sessions generally take place either on Saturday mornings or midweek evening sessions. Now, where possible, we do not schedule any live sessions on Sundays or Friday evenings. People who do this course, they have lives and they want a break, absolutely. So we don't schedule them for those time frames where people are taking a break. We also do not have sessions on any Irish bank holidays. So that's the last Monday in October, New Year's Day, the first Monday of February, St. Patrick's Day, Easter Monday, and the first Monday of May. Obviously, there is generally no credit-bearing content whatsoever at all during the summer months, so you needn't worry about that. So no content at the months of June, July, or August. Now, attendance is absolutely encouraged. It's not mandatory, but by being able to join the live sessions, you're meeting your peers, you are engaging in debates about the classroom forums. So we absolutely do encourage people to join the live attendance sessions if they can. But as I said, if there's ones you cannot make it for whatever reason, they're not mandatory, they are recorded. Oftentimes we find that people engage best when they kind of do both. They attend the live sessions and they watch the recording afterwards. And that kind of gives them the dual aspect of being, attending live, but also being able to consume the content on a more, revision basis towards the end of the trimester, which is really important too. There's different chat forums to engage with your peers throughout the trimester. There is also some opportunities to meet in person on this program as well. Now, Again, as with a few slides earlier, there's an asterisk on this that this is subject to change. This is a program that will kick back off for a new cohort in several months' time. It runs over the course of 2 years. We cannot absolutely guarantee that some of the dates and plans may change slightly. They may well do. However, in order to give you, as much of an idea as possible of how things work, here's an approximate idea of how the first trimester might look like. So this is approximate schedule for autumn 2024. So there might be an opportunity for people to come and an in-person welcome. That will be around probably the last Friday of August. And then we kick off on the first Monday of September. The module content becomes available to you on Brightspace. So by that stage, you will have wrapped up your registration, all that kind of stuff. And the content basically becomes available to you en masse, or depending on the lecture, depending on the module, there may be a timed release of content. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Or you can indeed, if you want the real nuanced, answers, if you have questions about the real nuanced way of how the program delivery works in terms of content delivery, please feel free to email me at jared.dooley@ucd.ie. In September and October 2024, there's some onboarding activities. And then for your live sessions, they take generally between an hour and an hour and a half, for instance, based on how it worked in the last trimester. For your accounting module, there was 4 one-hour sessions that took place on Saturday mornings. That's Irish time. For digital business, there was 3 hour-and-a-half sessions, so pretty much the same. That was delivered also on Saturday mornings, alternating Saturday mornings, I believe. And then for global leadership and teams, there was 3 one-hour sessions, and those took place during the week on a weekday evening. The approximate way of how the trimesters work, again, subject to change, but I want to give you an idea of how it flows. This harkens back to what Teddy was talking about in the sequencing. Autumn trimester of 2024 runs from about early September to early December. The spring trimester of 2025 comes next. That runs from mid-January 2025 to about mid-May 2025. You have the summer off. Please take the summer off and forget about us altogether to come back fully charged for the second year of your program. That begins with the autumn trimester of 2025. Again, that runs from early September to early December. And then a slight change for your very last trimester, a little bit longer because of the business simulation module, which is, it kind of runs towards the end of May. So that runs from early January to late May, as opposed to mid-January to mid-May. It runs from early January to late May. That's just something to bear in mind. One of the other big questions that we get at this stage from students is, okay, well, how will I be assessed on the module? And I want to give you an idea for 2 different modules, global leadership teams and human resource management. Again, I have that asterisk there. This changes year on year, and that's reflective of a program that evolves over time. We are constantly taking feedback from students, taking the feedback of the lecturers themselves, and we are creating, or at least we strive to create, as best a program to meet the people's needs as is possible in the online environment. I want to give you an example of how people were assessed, are being assessed, at the moment in the HRM, but in this case in global leadership and teams, how they were assessed in the last trimester. So there was an MBTI reflection paper, MBTI, the Myers-Briggs test indicator, so an external resource to UCD, but we bring in all of the resources that we possibly can if the lecturer deems them absolutely really important for the students' learning. We have no hesitation with that. We bring in simulations that are developed by academic colleagues from all over the world. So this is an example of that. That was worth 20%. Of this particular module. It was a group activity, as Teddy said, as part of the communication skills of this program. And by its general nature as a master's in management, there is group work involved, and groups are very carefully selected by us. There is no self-selection on this program, as you would expect for an online program where you may not be meeting each other in person. We create the groups, and that is done very carefully in a process. There's a group video for this module that took 30%, and then the remaining 50% was a research project. And then human resource management, and I show these 2 examples because it reflects that different modules are assessed in very different ways. This had 4 assessment elements. Some of the engagement with your peers in online discussion forums plays 10% of this module's assessment. Then there's a project proposal of which, there's a project of which the proposal is 10% and far larger for the actual submission itself, and then a group assignment towards the end. So I showed you both of these slides because I wanted to reflect the fact that it is a very broad assessment structure for the program. Okay. Now, if you feel a little bit daunted by the fact that this is an online program, or maybe that the equipment that you have may not be up to date, or will you be able to receive technological support from the same tech team that are developing the learning resources themselves? The answer is yes, absolutely. UCD prides itself on allowing our students to develop their own digital literacy at their own pace. So people as far removed as IT experts or managers to beginners, they will all be able to get on top of the technology from the very beginning. And we're very conscious, very, very conscious that part-time students often feel that what they miss out on by joining a part-time program is the community of students that a full-time student could build up. And there is no denying that there is an element of truth in that, even more so in the online space, perhaps. However, this program strives to help you create your own communities using the technology that we have, including the discussion forums, to replicate the same type of collegiality, the same type of college atmosphere among a group that will foster connections and friendships and support networks both during the 2 years of the program, but beyond. This is a unique opportunity to interact with people who come from a whole host of different professional backgrounds. You may never get this opportunity again, so please do use that opportunity to engage with people in completely different professional backgrounds to yourself. And who knows what you might learn from them. It's something we absolutely do encourage you to do. Now, what makes a degree from the Smurfit School in UCD, perhaps stand out a little bit more than other programs, qualifications? It's everything else you can accomplish on top of your primary degree that you undertake here. So, if you add on all of these add-ons that are available to you in the Smurfit School, there are things like the Global Leadership Program, which all of our graduate students can undertake. You can enroll in the UCD Advantage Award, which is run by our UCD Careers Network. Careers is a vital part of our Smurfit infrastructure. A bespoke branch of our UCD Careers Network is based in Blackrock, but of course they offer all their services online. It is one of the best aspects of being a student in the Smurfit School, their support to help you go wherever you want to go in your careers. Bringing all of this together, you go a lot further than your MSc. It's great. Master's in Management is a fantastic qualification, but it's everything else that you can get on top of that with the Smurfit School that perhaps sets it apart from other programs. Final thing I want to touch upon is my role in all of this. How do I help bring together, everything and your roles? So I look after, the type of things that you would expect a program manager to look after. I kind of, keep the lights turned on, keep the emails going, keep the lecturers knowing what time their live sessions are, all that kind of stuff. Interact with Teddy, interact with Suzanne's perspective and Teddy's perspective from the academic and the student side of things, but also do a lot more than that. The other half of my role is the Learning Support Officer role. I'm available to provide you with support and advice on all course matters. Yeah, there's the administrative stuff, which is really important, don't get me wrong. And when you're removed from UCD physically, you might feel a little bit more daunted in that aspect. I'll log on to Brightspace. What do? You come to me. There's some aspect not working with my registration. What do? You come to me. I might have to pass you on to some other aspect of UCD, but at least I am that middle person that will help you get to where you need to go. UCD is a big place. It's one of the biggest universities in Ireland, tens of thousands of students. It can be very daunting if you have a very specific query and you want it answered. You come to me and I'll be able to help you with that kind of stuff. As well as that, I'm also qualified to advise you on all academic and administrative matters throughout your program of study. The type of queries I get, I receive questions on essay planning, assignment feedback, time management, all that kind of stuff. I'll be able to help you with questions such as those, okay? Before I come back to Suzanne and ask her a few final questions, and then I'm going to open the floor up to questions from you and also address the questions which have come in. Brief word on how to apply. Obviously, it's very important, and also to talk about the fees involved for this program, of course, as well. You need a minimum second-class honours degree, which is equivalent of a level 8 on the national framework of qualifications in Ireland, or the equivalent wherever you are based, crucially in a non-business discipline. What do you do when you are preparing an application? You collate your transcripts, your original documents from your university. If those documents are not in English, we need certified translations. prepare your CV, references, 2 references, ideally 1 academic and 1 professional. If your primary degree is not in English, or your primary education was not in English, an English language test would be required, and the minimum scoring for that would be a minimum IELTS academic. It's the IELTS academic score that we need, and that is an overall score of 7.0 with a minimum of 6.0 in each band. Other tests are applicable too, and you can see all of those details, including confirmation of those IELTS scores, on our website. I mentioned earlier about the smaller track of applications, the non-standard, what we term as non-standard applications. As just to read it verbatim off the screen, in very exceptional circumstances, applications will be accepted from non-degree holders with significant management work experience. And as part of that process, an interview may also form a part of that process. So generally what we do with people that apply via this track, we pool all of these applications together. From those applications, a certain number may be pulled out for interview. And from the people that we interview, we may offer a few spaces onto the program. We maintain the right, if we do not feel that anybody we interview warrants a place on the program, then we may offer no places. But generally, there are a few students every year who do gain entry onto the program via a non-standard application perspective. So if you fall into the bracket where you don't have a degree, don't rule yourself out entirely. If you've got management work experience, we still want to hear from you, okay? Albeit we want to hear from you a little bit earlier, okay? So if you're on the fence and thinking, I'm not sure, I'm going to give it a little bit more time. If you fall into the bracket where you don't fall into the standard application process, you need to get in touch with us very soon, okay? You will complete your application online. There is a €60 application fee. Good thing about in UCD, if you're applying for other programs in UCD, that €60 application fee covers all your applications for 1 academic year. And if you are a UCD student or an alumni, as it is stated on the Smurfit website, that application fee is not needed. EU fees, they are €8,610 per year. And if you are coming from a non-EU, or your background is non-EU, and you're not under the EU fees scheme, then it will be €13,125. Again, I have an asterisk there. Tuition fees and other charges are subject to change each year, and part-time students may be subject to fee increases in year 2. Generally, those are very small and in line with inflation. Review time can take between 2 and 3 weeks. Conditional offers are possible. So say, for instance, if you are at a point where you make an application, you're not completed your primary degree yet, and you're just waiting to get your second-class honours degree, maybe a conditional offer may be extended to you, but that all depends on all of the other criteria being met. And once you meet the final criteria, you'll get a full offer. You'll be able to talk through that kind of stuff with our admissions team. And crucially, the deadline for applications is the summer of 2024, this summer, or until capacity is reached. So if, again, you're sitting on the fence and you're thinking, look, I'm going to park this for several months and come back to it, do bear in mind that applications may close when capacity is reached too, okay? Otherwise, think about September 2024, okay? So that's all I have to say in the program for now. So let's sit back a little bit and kind of allowing us to help us digest that. I might come back to you, Suzanne, before I open up the floor, excuse me, for questions. And just have a few more questions for you, Suzanne. So you've kind of been sitting there, kind of all of this, you would have known all of this, you're in the midst of it. I guess I started off my second section of this talking about how the program is delivered online. Can I ask you, as a very busy person undertaking part-time study, how have you found undertaking such a Smurfit Masters program in the online space?
Yes, having heard your presentation there, I'll say I have to concur with some key points in particular that you've said. I think, firstly, I think from my personal perspective, I wouldn't have been able to participate in a full-time in-campus course. So really, this sort of opportunity has opened a lot of doors for me, and I'm sure for others as well. So I think that's sort of the first point to note. Then in relation to Brightspace, the learning platform, it is very intuitive once you find your way around it. And I think it's also worth reiterating your point that there's a lot of variety in the learning materials. So there is the recorded lectures, there's recommended reading, discussion spaces, all that sort of thing. So I think that keeps the learning very much interesting. And then the other aspect, which I think is important to point out is the interconnectedness. So I found things like the discussion boards, group projects are great for getting to know other members of the course and create that variety as well. And also I would point out that the support has been fantastic. So if there is any sort of issue with Brightspace or something that you can't figure out, there's Jer or there's other members of the group that you can get in touch with, and things are sorted out very quickly. So I will say I don't feel that I've been sort of sitting at home, my home office, and there being a vacuum or anything between myself and the university. It is very much a supportive class group. I think it's also worth pointing out, you mentioned extracurricular activities there. So, for example, I'm taking part in the Global Leadership Programme, which is part of taking place with Smurfit UCD, and that is something that you can do from an online space. So it has different pillars, for example, in careers and leadership, and you can partake in different activities to build up those pillars and get a certificate at the end. I've also attended some webinars, and because I actually live in Dublin myself, I've come into the campus for a couple of lectures and things as well. So there is a lot that's going on around the course itself, which you can do from the online space. And as such, I think you can get that whole holistic aspect to it as well, as you mentioned.
And do you think, Suzanne, that, looking forward, it's a little bit down the line, but you're only in the second trimester, but things, they move pretty quickly. You'll be finished it before you know it. Do you see that the learnings that you're getting from the different modules, that it's going to be really practical and applicable to whatever you do next in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So I undertook this really as a stepping stone. I'd taken time off as a career break for parental reasons, and this was a stepping stone to get back into the professional world. And as I mentioned earlier, I think the breadth of topics has been really good. For me, it has exposed me to things that maybe I mightn't have thought that I might be interested in before as a career. So I suppose I'm at maybe a pivot point in a career, and I suppose this has exposed me to maybe new paths. And actually, you mentioned the careers network there. It's something that I intend to interact with next year in particular, in my second year, to sort of get that advice and help on CVs and interviews and everything, which I haven't done for quite some time. So I think that will help as well to give me a path, help me in a pathway from what I've learned and to where I'll go with that.
Yeah, I think that for a program such as this, we often see that people engaging with the careers network, it really happens towards, not quite towards the end, but definitely in the second year as opposed to the first year. People are very much, this is all very new to them. They're getting, involved in all of the different business modules that they will never have been exposed to before. Careers probably not, initially when they applied, very to the forefront of their minds, but that is understandably kind of shifted from their minds once they get into study. But once you reach the second year of the program and everything starts to click together, you really start to refocus upon, okay, why did I sign up for this in the first place? It's been a little bit of a blur for the last little while, but actually I can now remember, and now I'm going to engage in the career network. Thank you, Suzanne. We might draw you into some of the questions that I can see there. Lots of have come in. I might pass over now to Luke as we open up to the floor. But before we do that, we're going to collate some of the questions that have come in. Luke, if you want to draw our attention to them and or ask them on the students' behalf, whoever they submitted them, please.
Yes, okay. Well, thank you all for your presentations already. Indeed, now we go over to the questions to the audience. All of you, I already see some questions coming in. I just want to highlight actually one thing is for people that watch the recording, just in case, you can also still write your questions and participate in the polling as well. So you can all still interact, so to say. Of course, we cannot answer your questions live right now, but they will be sent through to the staff of UCD, so they can come back to you probably by email. All right, for the live audience, we can answer your questions right now, hopefully. We had a question first from Aid, just to clarify about the type of background and degree that's needed. He only had a secondary school background, as he was mentioning. And I think it was answered by your colleagues already that you need a non-business college degree. Do you want to?
No, I think that, my colleague Orna, I can see had a question come in there. Orna has answered it. But as I would touch upon in one of the last things I said there, we still want to hear from you. If you do have significant work experience, you want to reach out to us. Significant management experience, I should say. You can still reach out to us. But the standard application route would be a minimum second-class honours degree in a non-business environment. But as Orna has said, there are exceptional circumstances. If you have senior management experience, we can still review your application. So we still encourage you to get in touch, Ade, and we'll be able to give you a steer one way or the other.
Okay. Good, thank you. Question from Gohar. Would there be a certificate at the end, and is it totally online? So it was also answered, but just to make sure for everyone.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The certificate is your Master's in Management. That's why you're joining. It's a qualification. Obviously, UCD, one of constituent colleges of the National University of Ireland. So that is the certificate you get at the end. Now there's your extracurricular certificates that Suzanne mentioned, such as the Global Leadership Program, the UCD Advantage Award. That's what you're building towards. And the latter question, is it totally online? Yes, it is.
Okay, great, thank you. Yingze, if I say that right, has a question. I got my bachelor degree in Ireland, Irish bachelor degree, wondering it would be a matter of 2.1 or 2.2 in second class.
Yeah, as Orna has said there as well, short answer is yes. If you have a second class honours degree, that would be 2.1 or 2.2, then you would be eligible to apply. And if that program is, if you have a Bachelor of Commerce or something like that, Bachelor in Business Studies, then you would be ineligible because it has to be from a non-business background. But the specific question, second class honours degree is what we're looking for there.
Okay, good, thank you. Question from Kevin. Are all the modules mandatory, or is there the ability to select particular ones to accumulate the total amount of required credits?
It's a core curriculum, which is reflective of the fact that, the people that join us are from a non-business background. And that's essentially what the first year and one of the modules in the second year is all about, to bring you up to speed. And then you move into your more raw management modules, such as global strategic management in the second year. So all the modules are core and are mandatory. So I think, as Orna has noted on the question from Kevin there.
Perfect, thank you. Hopefully that all answered the questions. Otherwise, let us know. Next question from Pamela. What's the turnaround time for your admission process?
Generally really quickly. Depends on the time of year. There's lots of other programs that are offered in Smurfit, in the Smurfit School, so the admissions team manages them all. So there are different points of year where things might be a little bit busier than others, but we strive, the admissions team strive to get responses and reviews underway within about a fortnight. So if you get in touch with us and everything is all really good and looks good, then you shouldn't be waiting all that long, Pamela, for our response.
Great. Thank you. We're getting the thumbs up, so I guess that is answering that question as well. There was a follow-up question actually I saw from Pamela. How is networking done, and do you help in this?
Yeah, we do. I think Suzanne probably answered that as good as everybody in terms of, the way that the program is linked and the discussion forums. There's networking that evolves kind of independently of us. There's WhatsApp groups are set up, emails go back and forth between different students, and we kind of don't have a role in that, but that's the kind of natural evolution of networking that we really hope to see, and we always do see for a program such as this, because people are from such different backgrounds. One area that we would take more of a controlled element is group formation. So for, you work in groups together, but you may not, in a traditional environment, sometimes you sit in a seat and somebody sits beside you on the first day and they're your best friend for 4 years or 2 years or whatever the case may be. As it doesn't happen in the online environment. You may never meet the person face to face at all. So that's where we come in. We look very carefully. We're very careful, and I'll talk about this if you join us at orientation stage, very careful criteria for the development of groups. We create the groups. So there's never a situation whereby anybody's left out or anybody is in a situation where, the group that they're in turns into a very difficult situation. Part of the process is, engaging with your peers. It's a master's in management. People will have different ways of coming together and working in a group, but the onus is on each person to work to the best ends that there is possible, and they encourage each other. So yeah, so networking in a formal sense, yes, we do help with it. That's probably the most controlled way that we have. There's the UCD, when you graduate, there's the Alumni Association, obviously is a great networking tool as well. But in terms of the kind of more, how do I say it, low level networking, the collegiality kind of evolves on a natural basis anyways. But, you know, group formation, and we have our discussion platforms as well for people to engage as well. Oh, and I should say, as Orna has pointed out there,
Okay.
if you're joining us from overseas, UCD has a lot of global chapters all over the world. So if you're in a situation where you want to meet other UCD students, or maybe even a person that's on the program, your program, so say you're based in Germany or Australia or Buenos Aires or anywhere like that, you look for your nearest global center, your global chapter or your global center, because there's those as well dotted around the world, in North America, in the Middle East, in South Asia and East Asia. And those are other ways of networking too.
Okay, great. Thank you for that addition. Good. I hope that answered that question. I saw other question on financial help as well. So I actually pasted the link to the scholarship page from UCD in the chat. So just to make sure that you have access to that.
That's
about the fees, Jingse was mentioning, does the EU fee allow to separate monthly payment or any other option?
So yes, if you complete payments online, that is, there are different deadlines which you have to meet, but so long as you meet the payment deadlines, you can complete your fees payments in as many online payments as you wish or as you are able to. Lots of people come onto this program from a whole different perspective of fees. Say, for instance, some people join the program and the company they work for pay for their fees. We can help organize all of that. You just get an invoice and that's all sorted out with the fees office. But yeah, to answer the question, is there different timelines for payment and stuff like that? Yeah, exactly. There absolutely is. There are some deadlines which have to be met, and all of those details can be found on the UCD fees website. So just Google UCD fees and it'll bring it up. Other search engines are available too, I should say.
Good. Thank you. Question from Eddie. What are the courses offered? And sorry if I missed it. So there was a link provided, I think, by Teddy. So there you see it in the overview. I can also explicitly share this link on the screen just to make sure, because that will go to the website, and it has a lot more information also on how to apply. So just now on the screen, just for your information, if you click on that, you can at your own pace have a look at it, the program overview, how to apply, which program, courses it offers, just right after the webinar. But would you like to add something to that?
No, I think Teddy would have covered the modules that are on the program, and yeah, that link kind of goes through them. Yeah, there's 12 modules on the program, 6 each year, 3 each trimester.
Exactly. Good. Let me see the next question. I think that was answered. So far, I think those were the questions we received. I missed one actually. Gabrielle, can I use Duolingo for an English test?
Yeah, you can. So that would be one of the other English language tests that's applicable. I would urge you to check that out on our English language websites, because sometimes reviews of different language tests are ongoing. So I keep a close eye on that, just in case there's any decision that's made with regard to Duolingo. But yeah, I'd urge you to keep an eye on that. But as Orna said there in the reply, in the text reply in the chat box, she has a link provided detailing not only the status of Duolingo, but also other language tests such as the Cambridge English Test, and there's some other ones. The gold standard would be generally IELTS, but there are other ones there that you can take as well.
Okay, thank you very much. There's another question that came in by Mark. Is there a document available mapping the equivalent degree level from countries to the Irish 8?
That's kind of a complicated one, because I believe Mark is coming from one of our neighbouring countries in the EU. like seen there, he responded to the initial poll. You need to go onto your kind of home regulatory government system, and you will be able to map it out using databases that are provided from an organization called NARIC, used to be called ECTIS. But if you are in any doubt, please ask the admissions department here, and we might be able to give you a good steer on that as well.
Okay. Yeah, so Mark is actually from Hungary, I just saw. So, but hopefully that helps, Mark. We're getting the thumbs up, I saw. So that's hopefully answering your question. And I think those were the questions received so far. We do have a couple of minutes left if you have any last questions. But again, do also check out the website. I can maybe apply it, provide it as well in the chat if you clicked it away, and also for the people in the that watch the recording. Sorry, so that you have the link to get all the information. Good. Before we round it off, I'd like to thank everyone also for answering the polls. We have been opening up several ones. There's a last one coming up. But let me see if there's any further questions that anyone still has, then we can still take it. And otherwise, we will slowly wrap up the session. Seems that that's it in terms of questions. So then I guess that is all clear. Yeah, then slowly we will round off. As mentioned, we have one more poll, but I would like to know how we did. So I'll publish it on the screen. Let us know how you felt we were doing today. 5 being awesome, as was showing on the screen. Yeah, with that, whilst you do that, I'd like to thank everyone for having joined the session. Of course, especially the audience. We saw people joining in from different parts of the world, so different countries. And all, yeah, thank you for having joined. Maybe you are becoming fellow students in this program next year. We hope that, of course. And last but not least, thanks for the panelists, Ger, Teddy, and Suzanne. Thank you very much for taking the time, yeah, out of your busy days. I'm sure it's much appreciated, and I think also for the audience and seeing by the reactions. So thank you for that. And maybe, yeah, brief word over to Ger to round off the session.
No, thank you, Luke, for facilitating this. This is an excellent platform, and the way that you can continue to ask questions after we log off for people that review the recordings is really innovative, and it's great for us to be able to keep on top of queries coming in. In the top left corner there, you can see the 2 important email addresses for my colleagues in admissions and my own email address. So any questions that you have, please send them on my way. On behalf of myself and Teddy, and Suzanne and Orna and Mairead and everyone in UCD, both from the student perspective and from the academic and administrative perspective, thank you very much for joining us. I can see people that joined us from Turkey, from Nigeria, from Greece, from Brussels, from Hungary. Yeah, it's phenomenal, and bringing together people from different time zones and different parts of the world. You know, it's when you think about it, it's an extraordinary way of, you know, engaging multiculturally. And this is a program that, if you're interested in finding out more, then please let us know. But it is a program that brings together people from lots of different parts of the world, and it's something that we're striving to do more and more. So yeah, thanks very much. And if that's everything, then we might see you sometime soon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.